Miami, 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 Miami. It feels like Miami.
Welcome to the Heat Beat Podcast. I'm your host, Giancarlo Navas, and with me today, if you are watching on stream at twitch.tv/MIAHeatBeat, we thank you, and you see that we have the fullest house that we've had on MHB in a while. Shout out to our Twitch audience. Shout out to our YouTube audience. You guys have been absolutely incredible, even during the off-season when Heat content has been limited, if I should say. But you guys have been out supporting, watching, listening on the pod feed as well. Like, we thank all our audience, to our patrons, patreon.com/MiamiHeatBeat, everybody who joins our Spotify Green Room system. Everybody has been absolutely incredible, especially after the Heat lost like 2 months ago. What feels like 2 months ago. I don't know. Time used to move slowly in the pandemic. Now it's moving very quickly. I don't know what happened. With me today, we have our reality check master, Tiffany Meeks.
Hey.
We have the great Siobhan.
What's up?
And we have two illustrious guests, friends of the show. We have Imman from Dishes and Dimes.
Hello.
And we have Sandie from Dishes and Dimes.
Hello.
Okay, so you guys, friends of the program, remember to listen to Dishes and Dimes. Follow them on Twitter. Do all that good stuff. They're on the Basketball News Network. As you know, Nikias is also there. You know, that's family, right? So we want to have them here. We have a lot to talk about today. I think MHB hasn't really talked. We haven't really been on in a while. We had Miriam Fader last time to talk about her Giannis book, but we haven't really had a chance to talk about everything that's been going on with ESPN, and we kind of wanted to get people. We wanted to get an appropriate panel to talk about it, so we kind of coordinated this. Tiff, I know before we start, you have a few words. We ran a campaign last month, and we did incredible, raised over $6,000 for Pride, and I know you wanted to kind of address some things. Floor is yours.
Yeah. I just want to give a quick shout out to anybody and everybody that donated, that bought something, that tweeted, retweeted, and just basically give everybody props for showing up, showing out, and doing all you can, for Pride Month. But don't let that discourage you, because guess what? Pride is 24/7, 367 days a year, and just be you and love you. And that's all you can do.
Tiff, I was so, listen, you know me, I'm the master of panic. I was so scared of everything happening. I was like, there's a lot of moving parts. Is this going to work? Siobhan's laughing because she knows, right? Brass and I are rushing to get things done. This went absolutely incredible. And thanks to your hard work, Siobhan's hard work, Brass, Brian did a ton behind the scenes. Listen, Key, Brian M, Brian Goins, and boy, do I love to shit on Brian Goins, but he worked really hard. So,
everybody.
Real team win. Alf didn't do a lot. Alf just kind of showed up the day of. Yeah, Alf didn't do a lot. Shout out to Twisted Tapioca for the tier 1 sub. Shout out to Vane Hype for the tier 1 sub in chat.
Thanks,
we appreciate it.
guys.
Yeah. So we're going to get to some finals talk on the back end, but I guess, we've talked a lot about, the people have talked a lot about what's going on at ESPN with Rachel Nichols, but Sandie, it kind of, you unearthed something new. You had a Twitter Spaces that Kendrick Perkins joined, and Kendrick Perkins, it was very strange how he kind of tried to absolve himself of anything and being like, hey, listen, I don't want to, I'm not out here to lose my job. And I thought that was interesting that he just totally wanted to distance himself from, hey, why, what's all the finger pointing?
Yeah, I think part of it is because he knew we had a point. The thing is, we had the spaces on for a while, like a couple of hours prior to him randomly showing up. And I was in the middle of a spiel, and I saw him kind of pop up, and I was like, well, I'm going to say what I got to say with my chest. I'm not going to, hold back now that he's in here. So I think he felt like he needed to explain himself, which I didn't particularly ask for. I kind of knew where he would stand, essentially. And it was just really weird to hear a Black man say, well, the only person that I need to put my neck out for is my wife. And essentially saying, fuck the rest of y'all, like I'm closing the door behind me. And he did not see why that would be a problem. Another thing that I thought was really weird was him saying that it was between two women and ESPN, when it's clearly a systematic thing. And what Rachel said was barring a Black woman from potentially getting a job. So it's not just two women bickering, it's a white woman like weaponizing her whiteness. And the fact that it just went over his head shouldn't have even surprised me, because let's be honest here, like anyway. So for me, it's just like I don't know, man. Like, I didn't want the focus to be on the Black women supporting her bullshit, but I think it was an important part of the conversation, because essentially what they're doing is using the Black men that, you know, spoke up before Rachel gave her bullshit apology. They're using them as a buffer, right? Like, oh, she can't be racist. Right. She's being co-signed by quote so and so. So I mean, I said what I had to say, and that's that.
So it's so funny because, like, on one hand, I would go, why would I expect him to understand or have any kind of nuance on this? But then there's that other side of me that, like, says, no, he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yep.
There's something about that catch and bait that he was trying to pull in that moment, even after she gave what was supposed to be an apology. I didn't take it that way. I don't know how everybody else took it, but I know how I took it. And as the camera pans out, he's sitting there with Richard Jefferson. And first of all, you know, how weird is that you pan out and immediately here's two Black men.
Yep. So
I found that to me, it looked at it as if ESPN had already written the script.
Yep.
So because there's so many things that are wrong with this situation, considering that this happened during the bubble, right?
Yep.
And basically the story was that she got hacked, blah, blah, blah. Someone did this, someone did that. And everyone sat on it. So basically you're telling me that there's been no infighting behind the scenes. There's been nothing. Everyone's been friends. Everyone's fine. Hell no. As a Black woman, you did what? You said what?
Right.
You can't work with me. We can't sit together. We can't be in the same room.
We know that that's the case. Yeah. The story said as much.
Exactly. But they're painting this picture as
kumbaya.
Look at these guys. They love her.
They're fine. Why is this one dark have an issue? My thing with Perk is like his stance didn't even have to come from any point of nuance. Like it's have Maria's back or just, you know, kind of continue to ride and defend Rachel, who does not need your defense. Rachel is a middle-aged.
She will be fine.
Rachel's a middle-aged, you know, all right-looking white woman in the United States of America with a high-paying, very visible, very well-connected job. Perk, Imman, whoever else, she doesn't need you to write for her. Who does is Maria. Are these Black women who consistently have their talent questioned, have their prowess, their worthiness questioned, and just cast away as a diversity hire because ESPN, you know, has a shitty inclusion policy. Kendrick, yes, ESPN should face a lot of the culpability for setting that up and essentially using Richard and Kendrick as their buffer, as their front. But I'm putting a lot of that on them too for allowing themselves to be used that way. Kendrick did the same shit that like Terry Crews found himself in trouble for when Gabrielle Union was talking about what she was facing at NBC. Oh, well, you know, they were good to me, so I don't really know what she's talking about. You're not going to know what she's talking about. Yeah, you are a Black human, but you are a Black man, and you still have a level of superiority in this hierarchical of states and a Black woman does, and you know that. And Kendrick just, and like in you guys' spaces, I think Imman, you were like, so, you know, you avoided the conversation for lack of, out of fear. He's like, okay, well, it wasn't fear. I just can't come up here and lose my job. You were literally afraid of losing your job. Like, that's exactly what it was. And then, and then, like, who are you trying to placate? Who are you trying to keep this job for? Little do you know, if you would man up, put your chest out, and ride for the people that are asking you to kind of be there for them, they will support you. Black people are going to have your back if you just appear and show up for them. But no, you're so worried about keeping Rachel happy, keeping Disney and ABC and those people happy, when they don't care about you. They will put you, like you said, on Front Street and make you, the face of their dirt. And it's sick.
It was really unfortunate because I was on the stream. It was Sandie and I went on the stream together, like, in the middle of the spaces, we're gonna do this. And as soon as Kendrick came, so I had deactivated my Twitter account. And as soon as Kendrick came, I was on this like side Twitter account. And people kept following me on there because I was coming at, like, me and Sandie were just yelling at everybody essentially for like hours at that point. And as soon as Kendrick came on there, I was like, okay, there's way too many things happening. Let me just switch over to my new account. And I happened to do that at the same time that he had come on. So it was like a really unfortunate thing where I wasn't on stage and I'm just listening to Sandie go at him. And I'm like, he came in the middle of her spiel, right? So Sandie was going hot, and as soon as he came in, he was really defensive. And I don't know what brought him in. I don't know if people said that we were talking about him or what, but he came in incredibly defensive and refusing to listen to her speak. And I'm sitting there in the audience, like, trying to, like, get Twitter to connect, because honestly, Spaces, Twitter, get your ish together. Like, that, it's failing. But I was trying to get on there, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, I think he's missing the entire point. I think he's missing the entire argument, because you can tell me I don't want to lose my coin, I don't want to do this, whatever. Okay, sure. I don't care about that. Do you not understand that they're using you as a pawn? And do you feel comfortable with that? Because you could stay neutral and you can shut up. That's what Sandie kept saying. Why didn't you just shut up? Which is my whole point. It's like, if you say, hey, I don't want to mess up my bag, why does, this person and that person, Adrian Wojnarowski, is not being asked to do this, or this other white person's not being asked to do this? Like, I don't care. If that's your point, why do you have to defend Rachel? Yes. Why do you have to go to the other extreme? Yeah. And are you comfortable knowing that your company is using you as a pawn? They are using you as a pawn to cover for Rachel in that moment. And is that something that you feel comfortable with? I don't care that you have to only defend your wife. If that's the case, if you're only here to defend your wife, why are you defending Rachel? Are you married to Rachel? Is she your wife that you're talking about the whole time? Like, I didn't understand how you can, on one hand, say, I'm only here to defend my wife, but we're talking about you defending Rachel. How can that be the case? Do you not see how there's a disconnect? And I'm just sitting there in the audience being like, I need to ask him these questions. Like, I had so many things. And then he leaves after 2 minutes because he couldn't take it and joined other spaces to talk crap about Sandie. But I mean, like, it was just a frustrating moment where I'm listening to Sandie, talk to him, and him just refusing to understand that he is being used as a puppet and a pawn by a corporation. And it's fine if he doesn't want to lose. I don't care. Like, whatever. Sure. The onus shouldn't be on you. Fine. I get it. You can make that your argument, but you don't have to go and defend Rachel. Right. That is where you're being used as a puppet. And is that something that you feel comfortable with? Is that something that you're fine with? That's what I didn't understand.
Right. G?
Imman, I love what you said on Dishes the other day, where you was like, Rachel has become some sort of like white victim, and it's been like really weird.
Yeah.
That is another thing that's been bothering me.
But he and others, they played the part in making her the victim.
Yeah.
Instead of letting the issue stand as the issue, when your ass come riding in on the horse, like you a cast member from Django.
Jesus Christ.
Listen.
What do we expect? Listen, because this is tried and true when it comes to a certain population of men in the Black community.
Yep.
This is what it is, and this is what. Because guess what? What did multiple men say? Oh, she put me on. She put me on the show. She put me on. Okay, she put you on. You're there now.
Right.
You're there.
Who are you helping put on?
So either no, but the whole thing is what I was saying to Siobhan and those guys. For me, I would have rather him say no.
Yes.
You don't need to say a word.
Yeah.
You don't need. you don't need to condemn. You don't need to do anything, because none of that. But as he kept saying to you guys, it has nothing to do with me. But you inserted yourself into it when you threw that cape on your back.
Yeah.
And you you know, you want to be Captain Save-A-Ho, and now all of a sudden you looking real stupid because people calling you out.
Sandie,
Because that's what it really is.
He was like, do y'all not understand me and Richard Jefferson as a black man? Do you not understand you and Richard Jefferson, sir,
As a black man?
As the black
First of all,
man?
we've been raised.
And my whole thing is,
years. Go ahead, Sandie. I'm sorry.
and my issue is that these are, you know, they have a level of pack on the street, poor, like average Joe. Like Perk is a 15-year NBA veteran. You are an NBA champ. If you speak up, your voice has some level of power. You're not going to sit there and act like you're just some regular ass nigga. You're not.
Right.
And what
But the way he was talking to you, like he had no power.
Off is that I feel like they think that enough.
Sandie's cutting up.
Okay, so that's not just for me.
To just have the Can you hear me?
You're cutting in and out, but keep going. I think chat can hear you.
It's no power. Oh, I just need coin for my meal and my family.
Yeah.
I think so. Chat, can you hear? Chat, if y'all can hear Sandie, give me. Yeah, chat says you're cutting out. Schmeeth and Smolnik also says please keep the Django references so we can see G sweat through his shirt.
And like, man, that need. ESPN.
Can y'all? Okay, we're gonna
walk away and you'll be completely fine.
Sandie's connection better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alf's saying a bunch of things in chat that I can't repeat because Alf knows what he's doing. Alf's trying to make me uncomfortable.
She's right though. Like you have a voice, you have a platform, you have a presence. Like you can either use it to say something, the bad thing, or nothing. Like, at the end of the day,
very least say
But
nothing.
y'all know what?
At the very least, say nothing.
I'm gonna keep it. I have to keep it real. Like with the whole fact that like we know he has a platform. He knows he has a platform.
Right.
But why don't you? We sometimes just need to accept people don't give a shit. Like call it what it is. He doesn't care. The fact that he showed up in the middle of the spaces, in the middle of the conversation, and then proceeded to play Captain Save-A-Ho yet again after you already did it in front of millions of people on national TV. Now you come into Al Gore's internet and doing it. So you don't care. He didn't care, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care now.
No. He does.
I genuinely don't think he understands it. Listening to his arguments, it felt like he didn't understand what was being asked of him because he just decided to get defensive. And I just was so just wanted him to sit and listen instead of be defensive in that moment, but he refused to. And I mean, I don't know.
It's the same thing. Like all over the place, like Black women ride for every other group of people on this planet. And when we need people to ride for us, we largely have to look at each other or look for each other to do so, or for the queer community to do so, because queers be up and about riding for everybody as well too. And again, at the very least, Perk could have said anything. And my beef with Imman in his, oh, well, let me tell you about all the people Woj has stepped on. Sure, you could have told us that before the smoke was at your door. You waited till someone had something to say about you
now
and your
blowing up Woj
to this situation. Now you want to throw Woj under the bus. You could have gave us Woj's dirt and still broke from and still said nothing. you had things that you felt like you want to say. Why are you just sitting on, stacks of receipts from Woj, making it difficult for other Black people? You could have let those receipts fly too, but no, you waited until someone had something to say to you about the piss poor way that you responded to the situation to then go and throw what that was disingenuous bullshit too. Like the whole thing from so many of the talking heads who had something to say pissed me off thoroughly.
Ameen's bothered me so much because his whole thing was, I take up for my friends. I take up for my friends. I'm going to defend my friends because that's how I sleep at night.
God.
What? No,
is.
if my friend says something that is racist, if my friend does something that is wrong, I'm going to check my friends.
You check them immediately.
I'm not going to come out right away. His first thing, as soon as the story broke, was a tweet defending Rachel and being like, this says nothing bad about Maria. Nobody needed you to put on a cape for Rachel right now. We're not, that's what we needed.
That's what we're talking about.
It doesn't do the conversation. But that's what they did. And it's unfortunate that all of these, it's unfortunate that Kendrick does what he does and Imman does what he does and T-Mac does what he does, so on and so forth, because now we're left talking about them.
Steven Jackson
does what he does. Now we're left, and first of all, the idea that like everyone outside of Imman that we just named are basketball players. They're former NBA players. What does it say that she's nice to you? What does it say that she is your friend? Absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
That means nothing to the conversation. That provides no value to what we're talking about right now. And it's frustrating that they're allowed to sort of frame it in that way. It's frustrating that ESPN expects us to listen to former NBA, like not former, I guess you're never a former champion, NBA champion Richard Jefferson.
Can we redact? We should redact championships. We should redact Billups' championship. We should redact Kendrick Perkins' championship. If Middleton win one, we redact his championship. We should be doing this.
Let's not put that in the air. He's not winning one. That sounds good. But it was like, it's so like it like the idea that they don't understand that like it doesn't matter that she's nice to you, that provides nothing to the conversation that we're having about her disparaging and demeaning a Black woman in a moment and questioning whether she deserves the job that she has. Like that has nothing to do with you, former NBA player. But like also all of them throwing on the cape has turned all of our focus to them and away from Rachel, who is the person who said the racist thing. Yeah. And that's so unfortunate that they've made themselves the story and have allowed her to sort of step back. And now it's us fighting. Like, Black men don't stand up for Black women becomes the story, when it's really, look at how feminism is some bullshit and look at how racist it is. Like the idea that like we need women in spaces and we need more women here, that is always going to be white women. The second that it's Black women, look exactly what happens. That's what the conversation should be about. But instead, we're left talking about Black men not standing up for Black women and not protecting Black women when they are in these spaces too.
Rachel did the peak white woman feminist, and I know a bit of that too from the female side of it. So like, if you can recognize that you have dealt with these same things as being a white woman, you've dealt with your level of disenfranchisement as a white woman. How is it lost upon you the shit that Maria is having to deal with or face being a Black woman? I do not understand. If you have to give her more things to do, like even that was super like dismissive and very like reducing.
First of all, not even a job. That bitch said more things to do.
Like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? She does more things and better than you do.
More things to do.
Can you explain to me how the math works? So Rachel can sit back and say, as a woman, my life has been this much harder, right? Like it's been this hard for me to get to this point because ESPN has this issue with, well, they're not welcoming no women. But you're gonna tell me that a Black woman, so she's Black and she's a woman, somehow has a leg up? Like, what's the math there? Is it a double negative creates a positive? Like, what are we doing here? We're now the math is not mathing.
The math ain't mathing. It ain't mathing.
It doesn't make sense.
It made me sad. Like the entire thing, and like how all of ESPN's white colleagues like haven't had to say shit, right? It's all on what's Perk saying, what's Richard Jefferson saying, what's Jalen Rose.
That's bothers me so much.
Zach Lowe doesn't have to say shit, or like all these people don't have to say anything. It's like, not my problem. Which is
nobody's calling Max Kellerman for his
You know.
for his 2 cents.
Like what I found that like I'm like why are we like going to every black person and say like what do you think and holding a microphone? It's like it feels
That's
really
been
weird.
bothering me so much. That's been bothering me so much. And like at the same time, you feel failed every single time that they come out in defense of Rachel Nichols. But, and then I sit back and I'm like we're not asking Zach Lowe. We're not asking Adrian Wojnarowski. We're not asking Max
Didn't
Keller.
Woj say that she's a bad
asking white
teammate?
women.
Was that real?
Woj didn't think she's a bad teammate.
Woj's the
And
only
that's when the
motherfucker
news
out
came
here
out
saying
saying,
shit.
Woj, you're a
the
bad
reason why
teammate too.
Right, that's why he pulled Woj.
Yeah.
Because Woj was like, Woj was like, that bitch don't pass.
Woj beef with a congressman. He doesn't fuck around. I was making fun of me that I went and found 4 black women. Papa snaps in chat saying I need more G. We're missing the male perspective here. Alf also said black women carry my show.
Word.
Yeah, so it's true. This is true.
No, it's just super unfortunate. Like it was just the whole thing just was like really like sad to sit and see in the backdrop of like all of the bullshit that's happening with the Olympics and then this ESPN stuff. Like it was super disheartening. Like black people, specifically black women, black queer people are often the butt and the subject of so much bullshit, but then have to then come out and speak nice and oh well I'm okay, I accept. Like we have to be the oppressed and then like make the oppressors and the people that do the shit to us
you gotta make them feel comfortable
and feel
make
right,
them feel
more
about
comfortable
themselves for fucking us over.
Get out of here. I will not.
I mean, but that's how it goes. I mean, you make everybody fight each other, and then white men don't have to do anything, right? That's just white supremacy 101. And
then when you need a woman in place, you'll find a white woman in that spot. But that's what bothered me so much about
that's
what
your
Kendrick.
diversity higher though.
Yeah, and white women being allowed to be diverse.
That's your diversity
That's
higher.
what the conversation needs. If you're going to turn the conversation, anything, let it be that because what? But that's what bothered me so much about what Kendrick then said in other spaces away from ours was how Sandie and her demeanor, how upset she was in that moment would mean that she's never going to make it in other spaces or anything like that. Like we are not allowed to be upset.
I could never get it.
People
I'm never going to get a job.
All of that stuff,
Sandie,
like
you
that's
became angry black woman.
Yeah.
he that's exactly what he did in that moment.
Oh,
So we're talking about the whole conversation. Hold on one second. The whole conversation is about a white woman weaponizing her whiteness at the expense of other black people. And the second that a black person gets mad at that, and the second that a black person feels angry about that, we're the ones who are unprofessional. We're the ones who can never get a job. How does that, like, white supremacy is so, like, pervasive and insidious that you find it at every level to the point that a black man is going to use it against a black woman to defend and continue to defend a white woman who started this all off by weaponizing her whiteness at the expense of another black person. It's ludicrous. And I don't know how he didn't get that.
It's...
Sorry, Sandie.
Go ahead,
What was
Sandie.
crazy,
Go
like,
ahead.
when they went... No, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. When they went into the other spaces, it was interesting, and I kind of wish I kind of jumped in there because it turned into a conversation about who I'm sleeping with, and that I'll never get a job at ESPN because of the way that I talk. And no, but I know it would have ended it. But the point being that like it, instead of having a conversation about how pervasive like white supremacy is and how pervasive like whiteness as a whole is, they're having a conversation about what I'm doing as an individual and why my statement to a black man to stand up for, and that was wild to me. Do you guys not see how fucked up like do you guys not see how fucked up that is, that God forbid I have the audacity to tell a black man who's front facing, who is like representing us, that hey, maybe don't like co-sign the white lady that's fucking racist. Maybe shut the fuck up. And I'm getting attacked for that?
Well,
are y'all crazy? What's wrong with y'all? Like
but
anyway.
then he's condemning you for not speaking and for not placating and not being, you know, docile. You won't get a job at ESPN because you're I don't want a fucking job at ESPN. I don't. Maybe I'm confident in my
Thank you.
abilities and the people that I've curated around me. Maybe I can build my own shit. I'm not going to play your game and sit where you like just cozy the hell up to. I don't want that.
Yep.
Oh, that's the idea.
Like, okay,
Right.
and then what?
Right.
And then exactly.
Shut
then
up.
you're going through this. You're going through this.
Get up and do the dance.
Go ahead, sorry.
You're going through this. But the idea is that because he's there, he's making the assumption everybody want to do what I'm doing. Everybody wants to be what I'm trying to do. Because like realistically, like you're not blowing anybody's socks away with the shit you're talking on TV.
No, you're not.
For instance, across the board, let's be 100% honest about like what they're rolling out there every day.
We can run it down.
Let's not act like you're doing some award-winning shit that nobody else can do. And also the fact that you think that highly of yourself,
Right.
that's a whole nother problem as to why I initiate the idea. It's not that he don't know. It's not the idea that he doesn't want to know. It's not the idea that he can't learn. He doesn't care. If he's comfy, that's what he cares about. What he doesn't realize is that they gave your ass a high chair at the table. We build the fucking table, we bring the table, we build the chairs, and we bring people with us as Black women to sit at our table.
Every time.
See, he doesn't understand that. They gave him a fucking high chair, which means they're feeding you the bullshit.
Yep. And wanting to watch you act out and be the little caricature that they like you to be the personality, big, bold, loud Black man, knows what he's kind of talking about, but doesn't really speak, the King's English all that great, but he's personable, he's relatable. Like you are the face that they want you to be. And it's sad that you are just allowing, if that's what you want to do, if that's how you want to be perceived and used, cool. Don't assume Sandie or anybody else wants that and should be playing by the standard you play to get there.
You give people crumbs to maintain status quo, and as long as like people are willing to maintain the structure of like patriarchal white supremacy and you have people in place, you give a few people seats at the table to kind of be your mouthpieces to keep things in place. And that's kind of how the entire operation runs. And it's unfortunate that we have to sit here and have these conversations, whether it's about men raping and abusing women that are in positions of power, or whether it's white women upset that Black women get opportunities. I feel like we do this song and dance all the time, and it's in the playground of sports. I mean, much less like when in real positions of actual like legislative power, how this also happens. It's just we don't give a shit, right? But like that's happening everywhere, right? In all these, Imman, I think it was like you can Google like any NBA owner and sexual harassment, and it's like the first hit that you get off anybody, right? And all these people, all these billionaires and all these like politicians and lawmakers and everything are in like these seats of power that perpetuate the system that again, at the end, it's two women fighting for scraps, right? It's who gets to do the job at the finals, which, by the way, that they took away from another woman because they're like, yeah, you can have Doris' job. And I was like, damn, what Doris do? I Doris getting so, and it's because
and meanwhile, should not be taking shit from Doris.
I mean, women, because like Perk is not taking Rachel's job. Like all these people, these analysts, quote unquote, like they don't put women in an analyst role. Right, that women are to be on the sideline. Women are to be the hosts of the halftime show and the studio show. Meanwhile, they have John Barry fucking doing halftime shows for years. It's like, what the fuck does John Barry know? What does Chris Broussard know? Right, like all these bozos that don't know anything. Like they shout out to Nikias, they can't fucking point out a Spain pick and roll. Like, and there's actual qualified women who can do that. And like, of course, Rachel and Maria and Doris, right, they all have to take the same damn job. Malika, because they're not allowed to be in the other seats, the Perk seats, the Richard Jefferson seats. And Rachel knows that, and Perk knows that, and Richard Jefferson knows that, and all these people know. Is Candace Parker the only like woman who's an analyst?
And it's only because she's an actual athlete and knows what the fuck she's talking about.
And
Right. Analyst in the W. I like well, I don't. Is LaChina just sideline, or like does LaChina analyst, or is she an analyst? Like there, I don't know. But in the league, yeah, there's like one job that 5 women have to fight over, which is the issue there. Rachel, you ever stop and like you are a black woman or white woman covering like predominantly black league? There's a whole conversation to be had about why that's a thing too. Like it's so much.
Is it? Because it ain't happening. That
What's
conversation is never happening at ESPN.
Oh, but it's there to be had.
No, it's there to be had, but
it's peak neoliberalism. That's what it is.
Right,
it's peak.
Yeah, none of these things, all of these things are basically like dust in the wind. Because literally, what did they do? They canceled the jump the other day. All right.
Girl, she probably got
so
that
what does
paid.
that
That's
mean?
probably a paid holiday for her.
Right.
I'm sure it is.
It was a travel day, so they
point.
could get to Phoenix.
That's the whole point. Like, she's gonna be gone long enough for people to forget that.
Yeah.
She's not
Because
gonna.
they messed up. No. Well, the point is, like, listen. I never thought in the beginning she should have lost her job. They should have did the proper recourse with that, with her and all of these issues. That's what they should have did instead of, dancing out Richard and Perk on the show. Because what should have happened is they could have took that moment and had a round table. And no, we don't need any basketball players in this round table. Guess what? Keep it 100. I respect your opinion on this.
Yeah.
But the problem is how many. But the problem is how many black people does ESPN have that aren't former players?
There you go. See,
Maria Taylor, Malika Andrews.
They have to. They have to put in.
Yeah, that's
black,
the problem.
They have to put in players if you're going to. Yes, the only ones are women. Yeah.
How many black men are not even players? Like it's
most of the black men are players
on everything, even on the NFL side too. It's like,
and like that's why I keep coming back to like. We need to make sure that the conversation continues to fall on Rachel's comments, because when we continue to talk about that and what she said, we're also looking at, okay, well, what does ESPN look like? Who are the people that actually have the jobs? What is a real, like, does diversity quota exist? And if it does, why does it? Why does something like that exist? And you look around, you're like, everyone is white. Every sideline reporter is white. Every person, like, every commentator is white. And this is a conversation that we were having earlier where we were talking about the need for a diversity quota and what that actually means. And I'm talking about like hiring practices and whether it's like white women fit whatever sort of Western beauty standards, so we're going to throw them on our television. And if you're black, you've got to be biracial because that fits also. And so we're throwing you on television and all of that other stuff. So like ESPN has hiring practices in place that will always center someone, like you said, a Rachel Nichols. So when we're talking about a diversity quota, Rachel, which one did you meet to get to where you are? Because Maria had to climb so much further than that. Maria is probably the only person that one of the only people I can think of that is unambiguously black.
Right. Like
on ESPN, that's a woman.
Yes,
like a full like, and that is
pretty much.
Right. So like, it just like it's unfortunate that we're getting like and this is the fault, and I think maybe ESPN knew what they were doing. I don't think so. ESPN seems like they stumble into new mistakes and new problems every single second. I just feel like it feels like a child kind of running it a little bit. But it like I hate that Kendrick is becoming the story, and I get why he needs to be. I get why we need to be talking about this, but Rachel should continue to be the story, because what happens is we will forget. We will move on to the next thing. And Rachel will be back in, maybe, I don't think she'll close out this finals, but the start of next year, everyone's going to forget this story and we're going to all move on. She'll be back.
Exactly.
The jump will be back like it never left.
Her monologues.
Exactly.
And we got a whole let me just say this before, because I've been wanting to complain about this for years. We got an entire basketball show full of monologues and ex-players. And yet, I haven't learned one thing watching this show.
Not shit.
So, and not to say that she's not good at what she does, because I don't really know what they want her to do, but she's doing what she's doing, right?
Fair. Very fair. Fair. That's a great way to put that.
But I take issues with the fact that, all right, girl, if it's in your contract that states you're supposed to be doing X, Y, and Z, then you was just supposed to go off about that contract. That's it. So I'm not saying you racist, but you racist adjacent.
Adjacent.
If you're going to make those comments, you are racist adjacent. Now, I ain't going to call you full on racist, not yet. We'll see how this goes. I might change my stance tomorrow. But you definitely sit at the table with it.
That apology was some bullshit.
It wasn't even an apology. It was like, sorry y'all found out about it.
Maria. Yeah. Oh my God.
But you said that she has a show with monologues. It is a narrative-based show. You're telling me that you couldn't have. It's not like they're like, oh well, we don't want to be the story, and we're gonna talk about the Suns and Bucks. Or why? Your whole show is always a 20-minute monologue about Ruth Bader Ginsburg or something else that we don't care about. So like, why can't it have been this? Why didn't you think? Because here's the thing, like you said, I don't think that like she needed to be canceled or fired or anything like that. I'm not going to call you a full-on racist, but here's what it was. It was implicit bias. And that is something that every white person needs to work on. Because here's the thing, we all grew up under white supremacy. We all have to work on this. It's all things that like every human being needs to work through. And as Black people, we work on it at a much younger age because it affects us personally, right?
Everywhere.
But white people do not have to work on it. So it continues to fester. It continues to grow to the point where you feel comfortable saying that she's at that point because of a diversity hire. So it's on you to say, hey, I messed up. Because here's what I saw in my timeline. I saw so many white people being the ones to kind of defend Rachel Nichols in that instance and blame ESPN and all sorts of other things like that. Yes, ESPN is to blame. We can have that, but that's a separate conversation. The conversation we need to be having is about Rachel's implicit bias. Rachel's what did you call it? Racist adjacent action there, comment. Like that's the conversation that needs to happen. And Rachel wasted a prime opportunity to actually talk about it on her show, where what she does is talk about these issues. So it's like you have a show that does this well. I think Rachel does it well. I think her narrative-based stuff is, I don't watch it because I don't actually care to learn about it, but when it makes the timeline, I'll click on it, 2-minute video, she does it well. So you have a show where you do this well, and you wasted the perfect opportunity to have this conversation because it's very clear based off of what I'm seeing on Twitter, what I'm seeing in my timeline, that a lot of white people don't get it. But if you say it, maybe they will, because they haven't been listening to us for how many hundreds of years. They need you to be the one to say it, just like they need you to be the one to say George Floyd died in a way that we can't allow to have happen in this country or anywhere in the world. So let's go out and march. They needed you to say that. You felt comfortable saying that on stage. Well, feel comfortable saying this, because this is the racism that I say a lot of us have to deal with on a regular basis. Yes, I've been called the N-word. Yes, I've had to deal with like the outlandish racism, but the racism that I deal with on a daily basis is much closer to Rachel Nichols than it is. It's microaggressions, 100%, way closer to Rachel Nichols than it is to some MAGA man. So this is a wasted opportunity for Rachel Nichols. I don't know if the jump happened today. I didn't see anything like that. So it did?
Yeah, somebody in chat, Woody1547 in chat said Rachel was on the jump today.
Okay, well, I hope sometime soon. I don't think it happened today, but I hope you use this opportunity to actually talk about what happened. And the only way that happens maybe if we don't shut up about it.
Right. I feel like literally by them canceling it one day and then allowing it to come back, like they must all think we're in Men in Black. And Will Smith just walked up and said,
it was damage control, Tiff. That's all it was. It was damage control. That's all that they.
I told you, ESPN is a bunch of children just like not knowing how to put out the fires that they've started.
They don't give a fuck about anything.
It wasn't
but it says a lot. At the end of the day, all of this says a lot about, we know what ESPN is. We've been known, we know. But regardless of how how the video leaked, we heard it. This is who she is. When people show you who they are, believe them, because she had the opportunity to say, I need to address this. I messed up. I need to address this. I was wrong. And let me tell you why I was wrong. You know, and honestly, I was going to be like, all right, Rachel, I'm listening to your, I need to do better. I need to learn more.
I'm listening and learning.
I'm listening and learning. I have the books. Why are all the black children sitting?
I'm
in the
listening and
cafeteria?
learning.
like I was prepared for it and I was ready for it, because at least it's like, all right, girl, you better take a step some kind of way.
Some way.
Yes
right.
or no?
By her not,
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
G.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say, but by her not addressing it in a timely fashion, then that shows us who she is.
It's
And
that,
no,
like,
I don't need to meet you to know. I'm seeing it in real time.
the selective allyship to poke your chest out and speak however vehemently you want against police brutality, Black Lives Matter. You champion those causes because they are at least in this current moment, they are outright the right thing to do, right? But the you had the chance to bite a bullet that you shot at yourself. Like, you had a chance to absolve some of that in a real, in a genuine way that showed like some actual understanding with what you did. And yeah, so maybe Maria Taylor, lands on her feet, she's going to be fine. But like, that pervasive attitude, that pervasive mindset, like you said, you're seeing it on the timeline. Like, as long as she doesn't confront and speak for what she did, what she said, it's just going to continue to fester, like you said, and just, act as if nothing was wrong. And like, nothing gets solved, nothing gets remedied, nothing gets fixed, and we just brush it under the rug. White women are gonna do what white women do, and then we're just gonna keep moving along. And that needs
Black
to,
men will defend.
and black men will defend.
I think when you like,
in our own backs.
more than just white women will do what white women do, or more than like nothing was wrong with like what she did. I think beyond that, they turned her into a victim,
A martyr.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
And I was just like, how, like, you allowed her to weaponize her whiteness and turn that into her white victimhood. That's like every little bit of white feminism that we need. Like, they just did the whole circle of it. I'm like, she said something racist, and now we've turned her into a victim of ESPN.
Now I'm supposed to feel bad because
I'm supposed to feel bad because she was exactly like, oh, well, it's competition. And I'm like, here's the thing: I've been in a lot of competition. Never did it turn me racist.
No.
It's never happened to me.
But if you look at what you just said, like, there's so many underlying things in this whole thing that deals with Rachel, and I don't want to be the person to say this, but I'm the person to say this. If you look at, what happened with George Floyd, if you look at all the things that spurred the Black Lives Matter movement, do you guys realize, like, the common denominator is black men?
Yes.
The common denominator with her is black men.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it there.
Black men get upset when black women and black queers say that, like, all black men want to do is be the white people of the black community. But like, that be true at a lot of points. Like, just want to feel like they've attained a level of success to where they are not held as account. Well, they do it. They just want to, a lot of times, just be able to get away with the same things that their white counterparts do. One, not understanding that you'll never be able to get away with stuff that they do, no matter what level you've arrived at. That's not how that's going to work. And at any point that it's public relation, to let you go and to be done from you, which it will be. And it's just like super sickening.
People want a seat at the table. They just don't want to bring us along with them.
Right?
It's like, you, like, as a person, as a part of a marginalized group, what you want is to be closer to the center. Black men are closer to the center than black women. Yeah. And black straight men, I should say, black cis straight men are closer to the center than black women. And you want to be closer to that center, but you are not going to bring us along with you. It's the same thing that we're watching Rachel Nichols do. It's the same conversation. At the center is still our patriarchal society, and at the center is still our white supremacist society. And we're on the outside looking in, and no one is trying to bring us a seat at the table. And they're ready to sort of close it out on us, because by defending a white woman, you're kind of closer to that center.
Yeah.
And these are millionaires. Like, that's
and they're rich.
That's another part of this that is like under discussed. So it's like, these are people that have benefited the fruits of kind of the top of, capitalistic society, right? Athletes are some of the few people that don't. I think maybe the only profession that you don't have to, that you can amass wealth without exploitation, right? That might be one
different class.
The only.
Fair.
Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
for Stephen Curry's first contract. Or second contract. Second contract.
Let's we have a little bit of time left here. Imman and Sandie have been very, very gracious by coming through. Imman, before you guys get out of here, would you like to give us your thoughts on Chris Middleton in the finals so far?
Who?
That guy that somebody NBA likes him a lot on Twitter. They write a column. They host some rinky dink podcast. I'm sorry, Steve Jones. I love you.
I love that podcast. Huge football fan over there. Yeah. No.
That podcast, the short corner.
Hold on, Steve.
The Ben Simmons. The Ben Simmons is what it should be called.
Steve had the most amazing tweet the other day. Nikias had said something about a 30-year-old, and Steve goes, "Let me check his age." Waited 5 minutes and then responded, "That tracks." That fucking set.
That's funny.
Your boy balled out, Imman.
He did. He had a good game. I had to do a pod about it too yesterday too, because I was asked to do a podcast, and I was just like, Chris Middleton played well, but here's the thing: so did Brooke Lopez, and every time that Brooke Lopez is a top 3 buck, I get to make fun of one of the top 3 bucks. So it would just turn into a little bit of Drew Holiday slander, and I had fun with that. As long as I get to slander someone in the top 3, but like namely Chris Middleton, because ESPN came out. It was ESPN that came out that he said Kyle Lowry, and ever since that came, it's just been a lot of Chris Middleton hate.
It's Sandie, did you see how ESPN said like, oh, DeAndre Ayton, the first person to debut in the finals with 15 and 15, when literally Giannis did it the same game? I was like, what are we doing?
I don't know what to say anymore, bro. Like,
I was like, the damn xenophobia. God damn, poor Giannis. What'd he do?
Those people are not serious. They're not serious about their job. they hate the Africans, man. They want to get the Africans out of here.
I was like, my God.
What?
Like,
You're all for getting the Africans out.
First of all, I learned that DeAndre Ayton is half Nigerian, half Jamaican. So he's Nigerian as well.
Tiff, Siobhan.
I know. He's a rapper right there with those credentials.
Did you guys see?
Okay, I didn't know that.
Gabe
I learned
Vincent
that too.
made the Nigeria
I know,
select team.
besides eyeing him.
Wait, who made what?
Gabe Vincent made the Nigeria select team. He's part of the 15-man roster that'll get cut to 12.
That.
To play?
Apparently.
Gabe Vincent is Nigerian?
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
The Heat have 3. KZ Okpala, Precious Achua.
We got like
and
12 Nigerians on our team.
Iggy's Nigerian.
Y'all were
Wow.
stocking up just like the Raptors were trying to get Giannis.
We can do like a Heat intramural
Wow,
scrimmage.
there's a lot of
Americans
Niger boys
versus
in the
Africans.
in the NBA. Like sheesh.
Imman, that was a
Yeah, alright,
storyline
Gabe.
for much of the year that the Heat were doing this on purpose. That's
Wow.
why that's why
Giannis.
they traded 4 second-round picks for KZ Okpala and they kept Gabe Vincent around. That was like legit a Heat Twitter story.
That's funny.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
What a cacophony.
Honestly, I have beef with Heat Twitter because every time I see Al post something about Kyle Lowry, all I get is like him just tweeting out like he's not that old, guys, and I'm like, what are these people talking about Kyle Lowry? Like, what could the responses be? I can't bring myself to click on the tweet because like I don't want to.
He's learning how to stand Kyle.
Every day.
Listen, I'm working on him.
It's getting thick around here. It's getting deep around these parts with the Kyle Lowry.
I know it hurt. I know it hurts him. It hurts Al. It hurts Alf, man.
No,
It's
Alf
so
is, like,
annoying.
coming
No, he's like
around.
he's been like fighting for Kyle Lowry, but like I'll see like,
Isn't that weird?
oh no, you got to keep Tyler Hero. Who are you gonna Beal? You think
No,
you're
Alf's
gonna
not saying you
got
got to keep Tyler Hero.
You're gonna trade? No, you got to keep Tyler Hero to like trade him for like
Oh yeah,
someone younger than
For
Kyle.
Harry B.
And it's like
for Harry
who?
B.
Oh, that's who it's changed.
That's
to
who
now?
I
You
want.
got Harrison
No,
Barnes?
I want Kyle and Harrison Barnes so bad. If they get Kyle and
I want
Harry B.
Harrison Barnes over
Listen,
Kyle Lowry.
no,
Good luck with
Pay
that.
no attention to the man behind the curtain. Pay no attention to the
Should've been-
man.
take me out,
behind
Brex.
the curtain. His thoughts and ideas are not fully
Listen,
representative.
he is
Do
like
not represent those of his colleagues.
he is the biggest Kyle Lowry fan that's like not a Raptor fan.
He's literally my favorite player. Like after Dwayne Wade, he is my second favorite player of all time.
Here we go.
That is fact. I love him.
I love Kyle Lowry, and anyone who loves Kyle Lowry is good in my books.
I like.
He's a
him.
Raptor
I don't
fan,
really know him,
to be honest. He's
but if
a
he
Raptor fan.
If he comes to
He's a
the
Raptor.
Heat, then
G is a
I'll be,
Raptor
you'll
fan.
be seeing me on your timeline.
Yeah.
I don't really know him yet because I didn't really watch much Raptors.
I mean, I hope you watch some Raptors next year so you can get acquainted with him.
They're fun.
don't
Nick Nurse
dislike
does
him.
funky things.
Oh,
Siakam's
goodness.
fun. Tiff, you
I'm
and
a-
Siobhan hate on
Oh,
Pascal.
God.
I
I
like
don't hate
Pascal.
on Pascal. I like Pascal.
I'm gonna be
more than I like
sick.
Kyle.
And his
Personally,
outs.
Kyle
Peep,
played like 3 times.
Yeah,
He's
I
good.
said it. I'm sorry.
he's good.
That hurt. I did not expect to be on. I
know,
thought we
why?
were
You guys hate
attacking
on
white
Pascal
women,
for
and here I
what?
come, and we're attacking me and Kyle Lowry.
No. We are attacking white women.
Hold on,
and
I have a
patriarchy.
I have a
Oh,
funny
that's
I have a
so
funny
bad.
Pascal story. So
Guys.
I was covering a Raptor shoot around at the AAA, and I had never covered a shoot around before, right? And I don't know a lot of like the beat writers here. The only beat writers I know weren't there, right? So usually like they or people that I know in the Heat. So it was why would they cover? It was just like Tim Reynolds and like Ira at Raptor shoot around, and I was trying to get quotes for Kyle for something I was working on. And Nick Nurse, and I was doing a Gasol thing. And I didn't know I had to leave after a certain point because all the beat writers left. And I was like, I thought, I didn't know. I had never been to a shoot around. And then somebody at Raptors PR was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm covering. And it's like, no, you can't be here. And I go, oh, and the guys escorted me out, and Pascal's doing stretch, and he looks at me, he's like, damn. They escort me out. He's like doing like these stretches. It was very embarrassing. Yeah, that's my Pascal story.
Yeah, I don't dislike Kyle.
Oh, that's so cute.
I don't dislike him. I don't know that I'm a fan. I appreciate him. I respect him.
Yeah.
I don't go up for him though.
I don't. Iman, do you think
My
that there's
feelings are
any
hurt.
chance
I'm
that
so sorry. Can I fix
he's
him?
A
that
lot
he
of
stays?
caveats there.
Do I think there's any chance that he stays as a Raptor?
Yeah.
Yes, but I think if he stays as a Raptor, we're gonna just do the same dance that we did last season, where at the trade deadline, it's just gonna be like, what can you get for him? Like, I think if the Raptors sort of offer him something for 1 year, he'll probably stay here and look to be traded halfway through the season to a contender.
Why wouldn't he just
Some
sign and
big
trade at
bone.
that point? I don't.
I mean, I think that if they don't, like, I think the Raptors might be like, hey, can we try to do something with him next year? Let's try to pay him. Let's see what they do. And if they're not good enough by the deadline next season, then trade him away. I don't think that, like, I think both parties are fine moving away from each other, but I also don't think either party is like, you know what I mean? Like, I think
Yeah, no, I
both
get it.
would, I think like they like I think that like I think I made my peace with the fact that like Kyle's more than likely not going to be a Raptor next year, but I do see a scenario where he does stay a Raptor and remain a Raptor, and if things don't look good by February, I guess we're gonna have a normal trade deadline next season, then he'll probably be traded then.
It's weird. I don't think it's
Just
like a
kick the can
foregone
down.
conclusion that he's gone. I think that a lot of people have assumed so, and obviously Miami and Philly are like the two. But like I'm like I don't know. I mean,
Philly's not getting him. That's not happening.
that's not.
We feel that.
I
Who's
mean,
not?
No,
Miami or
Philly.
the Sixers. He can't go to
Fine.
the. If he goes to Philly, I'll self-combust. I
he's
can't.
not. That's not happening.
I cannot have that.
Why would you want to go to Philly?
Why would anybody willingly
from
go to
Philly.
Philadelphia?
He is,
I know, but I'm going to discount the hometown
Yeah.
connection.
I don't think he's gonna go there.
It's- I don't really see any, just because of like the chaos and the always hurt bodies in Philly. I don't see any free agent saying, I'm going to sign up for
Let me go.
Joel Embiid, who is only going to play 60 to 75 games.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ben Simmons, who may or may not be there. And if he's there, I mean, he ain't shooting.
Still won't shoot.
But
Can't
I
shoot.
think that like I think that Kyle Lowry on the Sixers, to me, like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, like heading into sort of like before the trade deadline, I thought that the Sixers were my favorite fit for him. Outside of like LeBron James, I'm always gonna say like LeBron and Kyle together would be the pairing of my dreams. But I thought that he would fit so nicely on the Sixers. I thought it was like a seamless fit for them to put him there. It was very clear that they needed a point guard, that they needed some floor spacing, and he provides both for them. Takes the ball out of Ben Simmons' hands some as well. And I thought that that's exactly what they needed. I thought it would have been a perfect fit. I kind of see Dallas as a nice fit as well. I would love to see him play alongside Luka. Take that organization. Would love to see him play alongside Luka. I just think that there are like lots of nice fits around the league for Kyle.
He seems like, from what I've seen a few times watching him play, he's more comfortable with the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's good off. He's good off of it.
He's good off ball.
He's a
like
great
screener,
shooter.
Don't start mansplaining. I said what I see.
Yeah.
Me.
I get defensive.
Great on ball. He's great on ball.
He's great on. From what I've seen, he's great on ball. The problem I think that's also going to rise with Dallas and Luka. Is that there's not enough opportunity for anybody else. That's honest. If you actually, because he gets a lot of assists, but those assists actually don't come in crucial moments when he should be hitting the open man.
We're talking about Kyle or Luka?
Luka. So I don't see, and I that's what I'm saying. Like I think there's also going to be a problem in Dallas. I don't think there's going to be free agents who are free beating that door down either.
Yeah. What, Dallas door?
Dallas's door. Luka has a very stagnant part to his game, and it all
maybe Duncan might
crucial where he does not get the ball up. Who? Duncan.
Yeah, they get Dallas gets a certain kind of free agent. It's Chandler Parsons. It's Duncan. There's a profile.
I see what you're saying.
I mean, they always have cap space and they never get anybody.
Yeah, but
and they end up signing four guys for $35 million every time.
Listen, I want to play with a point guard who passes. I'm not standing in the corner. And Luka's you got to stand in the corner guy. I don't want that. And most stars who are stars ain't trying to stand in nobody's corner.
Did you just call Kyle a star?
He is a star. He has a ring. And he was a big part in getting that ring. That wasn't just Kawhi. I did watch some of those games. It wasn't just Kawhi. So he's not standing in the corner. He's still got a little lift in him. He's not standing there waiting for the ball.
Imman, you said you thought he'd be seamless in Philly. You send him to Philly. What do you do with them? Are you just going to camp out in Nikias' podcast all game?
It's easier to bench him.
No, but like it is certainly
it's embarrassing to bench him. Is what that is.
It's funny to bench him.
I think it unlocks a little bit of what you want from someone like a Ben Simmons. It's not like Kyle can't play off ball. Kyle's great off ball as well. Like you said, he can use him as a screener. I think you can see a lot of like pick and roll action with a guy like Ben. I think it just unlocks Ben Simmons' game to another level. And I think it like also helps Joel Embiid to have an actual point guard there. But like I like the fit for like Ben Simmons more just because like you get to see him kind of be a road man a little bit. And like release the ball somewhat and actually have some solid playmaking on the team and not force Ben Simmons into the only point guard role because they need some more playmaking and they need some more ball handling.
Philly was dying.
Bless your heart.
With the Joel.
Hold up, G. Hold up.
I believe in Ben Simmons. I haven't given up on him.
You think a real point guard is gonna make that man shoot the ball? He's not.
What Ben do you see in? He has great size. That man has fantastic size.
He's got great size.
He has great NBA size. That is size.
Yes, he came into the league with that size.
Exactly, and that's it. He is how he came in.
Yeah.
We're talking about height, right?
He is, but he's never had a point guard since he's come in. Also,
yeah.
All right, so let me just go ahead and throw this in the arena then. G, I'm about to cape for you.
Yes.
I know, first time a black woman ever did that. Don't ruin it.
Right.
Bam's never had a real point guard either.
Never had a point guard either.
So Look at that pick and roll. That's all I'm saying. If we want to talk about somebody being able to play with a real point guard,
Hey,
let
I
Bam
like
and Adebayo.
I don't mind his fit with Miami either. Like I think you can put one team. Kyle is the most versatile player in the league, in my opinion. Don't ask me how. I'm not going to defend that statement.
defend
but,
it.
He is.
Can switch.
Okay.
Can switch a ton of positions. Can shoot the ball on the ball or off the ball. Really good off the bounce shooter. Can defend. You can't really bully him on switches. You can't post him up because he's so strong. He has a good base. He's a great
It's
off-ball
my
player.
favorite to watch people try to post him up. That was great.
Screener, cutter, just tremendous IQ. Can get to his spots pretty easy. He's not a guy that'll kill you with quickness, but he does have like acceleration. Like he's plays that. He reminds me of like old Dwayne Wade when he plays pick and roll. Like he really like snakes and finds the angles.
Old man Dwayne.
And particularly for Miami, like he's a guy that can shoot off the handoff, which is big for them. Can hit a guy on the roll. Can get
That
to
is
the
all
floater.
your offense is. Huh?
Abolish the handoff, Imman.
Girl.
Is that all your offense? I was
Bro,
watching the Heat. I'm gonna be honest. This season, I did not watch a lot of Heat basketball, but I was like, that is all their offense is. I was like, there's nothing else.
They don't have a guy who can dribble. Like literally, Jimmy's the only guy who can dribble, and Goran's never healthy, and Tyler sucks like half the time. So
Bam brings it up into 8 feet of open space and just pitches back. That's it.
I mean, it in
that
theory
is
works.
all their offense is. I was just like, there's nothing else to this.
Sandie, I call it the revolving door of dribble handoffs because that's what it is.
That's
it's just
so funny.
it's
Big
dribble
ass
handoff
carousel.
into dribble handoff. That's their secret combo.
Pistol action.
Somebody,
That's sad.
Hilarious.
Siobhan, was
Poor
it you?
thing.
But I like that you just said that he could sort of switch up and,
I don't know how
defend
you
multiple
do it.
positions, because that was the argument that I was having with a lot of Laker fans when they were like, well, we can't give up some of these other guys on the wings because it leaves us too thin. And I'm like, you can't, like, Kyle doesn't need to defend ones. He's not going to defend ones. You're going to put him on someone who's bigger. I was like, I was just trying to pull up tape of like, look at him defending JJ Redick. Look at like Tobias Harris try to post him up. Look at Chris Middleton try to post him up. Look at like, and I was just like talking about like how he's guarded all these guys, and I'm like, they can't do it. And none of these Laker fans wanted to hear me, so I'm happy that Heat Twitter, at the very least, is someone to defend.
His
Kyle.
rotations are like also incredible. Like I know like the charge stuff has been well documented, but like when you're a small guard, you got to be able to rotate and get to your spots early. And he's really smart at splitting the difference. Is so smart as an offensive player. He knows kind of where the ball's gonna be, and he gets to the spot early and is good enough to be able to vacate and close out if he needs to. He's just, I mean, I love him. I don't need to say much more of that. I mean,
I'm scared of him becoming a Heat though, because I know how much you guys love Chris Bosh, and rightfully so. I get it. But
legend.
If two former Raptors have become Heats, and like I know you guys will never love Lowry like you love Bosh, it would just hurt in my soul to know that we sent him off to a team that will never love more than
But you know, Imman, like
They would.
They'll love
They
him.
would. Because you know why?
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 He's a point guard. If that man can come here,
Yeah, but this two
and
championships.
bring- yeah, but think about it. See, that's where you like. I don't think about that. If he could take Bam's game to another level, that's it. That's that to me. That is.
If he
it.
can
That's what
guard
makes him strong.
positionally and keep Bam under the basket and not having to,
Girl, if he can read the defense,
you know,
if he can read the offense, if he can read the defense, if
Bring
he can
them
just
on
read.
down.
Like, if he can
just read.
Like, come on. Like, if he's
Are
a
you
confident and competent player,
yeah.
that let me tell you, that works. That works for
man,
me.
you're welcome.
You can give me 5 assists without like flailing and throwing the ball away. I'll take it. Like, I don't care. This is where I am right now in life.
we'll close on this.
I was like trying to look at like, okay, so who do the Heat actually have in their point guard rotation? And I was like, oh, that's more prayers. I think Tiffany, you're the one who responded to my tweet, and you were like, what? Say that again, come again.
It's Jimmy and Bam. Jimmy and
Christ.
Bam are our point guards.
Yeah,
You know,
I was just like,
people don't know this, but when you pull up the Heat depth chart, like where point guard, shooting guard, when you click point guard, it literally says 404 not found. They
true.
don't
It's
have.
astounding. It's hilarious because it's true.
It's. I mean, some may say it's hilarious, others say it's sad, and it's
No,
why they
it's
lost.
very sad.
That's why they
actually.
lost
It's
their Chris.
depressing.
It's a nightmare. They lost.
Yeah, but Daryl Morey is not getting Kyle Lowry, so anyone else besides
Anybody.
Daryl Morey.
We want to thank Imman and Sandie for being incredibly gracious with their time, spending over an hour with us. We normally don't pod this long, but they're so much damn fun and smart and incredible. Please listen to Dishes and Dimes.
All right.
Read Imman's writing. Imman, a writer? What? We love it. We love
I'm
to
working
see
on a
it.
piece. I'm working on a piece right now. I just took a break.
Oh, let's go.
Cute.
Where can people read it? Where can people read your stuff?
Basketball news. I'm trying to follow in the footsteps of Caius. Basketball news.
You're gonna surpass them easy. Sandie, where can people hear your amazing takes?
Dishes and Dimes. I'll say it for Sandie,
Did we
who
lose
is
Sandie?
on
So
pod
Sandie's-
right now.
Sandie's had bad connection. You know what a team player. For sticking it through with bad. Listen, I think there's a storm.
Pod, please follow us on Twitter.
Appreciate you.
What's going on? I don't know what's going
You're
on.
good. Okay, we're good. Listen to This Is a Dime. Basketball news. These are the homies. We love them. Friends of the show. Hangover Time tomorrow after the game. Tiff's gonna be on. I think I was summoned to be on. Somebody who knows Cap. Siobhan's on. I think Moose is on. We're gonna have fun. Alf Brass. All that good stuff. Check out our Summer League coverage. That's also coming soon. We have lots of fun stuff planned for us. So
Y'all gotta come on Hangover Time. Come drink with us. Come have fun.
I miss it. I want to come back.
you gotta come back. We gotta get you on for.
We're gonna work on that.
We're gonna work on that.
Bring
All right.
those back.
Everybody has to go. We love y'all. Thanks to Twitch chat audience. Everybody remember, like, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Please helps us algorithm. They suck. Blah blah blah. Love y'all.